Today we're visiting with Education Coordinator Marty Egeland, and we're going to go over how to clean pheasants when you get home and how to clean pheasants in the field and keep proper identification on them for transportation. I'm Mike Anderson with the North Dakota Game and Fish Department.
So we had concluded a successful hunt this morning and have a couple of roosters to clean, and we're going to show you the correct way to process a pheasant so you can legally transport it home if you're out in the field. So the first thing, by state law, if you're transporting this, you have to leave some sort of identification on it. That can either be a foot, a fully feathered wing, or a fully feathered head. Your choice of what you want to leave on. Myself, if I'm cleaning the whole bird, I typically prefer just to leave the foot on a ringneck pheasant, simply because I don't have the feathers and stuff on the meat, but you can do whatever you want. If I'm just taking the breast off a bird, like a grouse, a lot of times I will leave a wing on because the foot is no longer on the carcass. But let's get going. So first thing I do is I usually just kind of dig in here on the belly and I start ripping the skin off. And we're just gonna, I don't pluck my pheasants. That's an option if somebody wants to do that, but they're kind of hard to pluck, and I just skin them. And you can really just do this with your fingers. You just pull it off all the way. And I'm only going to, I only need to leave one leg on, so I'm gonna get this other one out of the way, and I'm gonna keep this, and I'll tell you what I'm gonna do with that later. And I'm going to place this here, and I will pick these feathers up later. One thing, if you're just out in the country, be careful where you clean your birds. Just don't throw carcasses and parts that, on someone's approach or driveway. People that live out there that don't appreciate that. So, like anything else, we got to clean up after ourselves. And so right now, I'm going to take a wing off here. And I take them up pretty high because there really isn't much meat on the wings. So now we have 3 forms of ID on there. We have a wing, a head, and a leg. You can leave one of the, it doesn't matter which one. I'm going to leave a leg. So I'm going to go and further cut off the other wing and the head. We have a carcass, but this carcass still has entrails in it, and we want to get that out. And the other thing sometimes I do, if it's warm out and I am going to go home and I don't want to clean the birds, I won't necessarily skin them. I will just field dress them. I'll just open them up and take the insides out, and that helps cool them down. And all you have to do is open it up like that. And that's done. You can pick the feathers off. If you have a little water, I usually have a bucket of water with. You can just further clean that up. So by state law, until you're at your house, if you're transporting this, you need to have either a leg, a head, or a wing on it for identification purposes. And we want to know that this is a pheasant. And then in pheasants, we can also only shoot male pheasants, roosters. And so we need to make sure that it's a male and not a hen. So other birds like sharp-tailed grouse, you can leave a foot or a head on, and or a wing, but it really doesn't matter because you can shoot either males or females on grouse or partridge because you can't tell the difference on the wing. But this you can, so we want identification of species and sex. So other than a little cleaning, this one's So, and you know, a lot of people wonder, why don't you just clean the bird once you get home? Well, oftentimes maybe you're on a trip, and if you don't live in pheasant country, maybe you go down and go hunting for 2, 3, or 4 days. And the daily limit on pheasants are 3, but your possession limit's 12. So you could go on a 4-day hunt and have 12 birds. You probably don't want to leave the birds unclean for 4 days. So this is the reason that people will dress a bird in the field, is to cool it down, you know, get it in a cooler, a freezer, a fridge somewhere, and that way you can have great table fare, but that when you're going back home, you can prove, you know, if you get stopped, what you have in your possession. So we have our other bird here. So now, since I'm at my place here and I'm at home, this is how I'm going to clean the bird. And I'm not going to go to that trouble of totally cleaning it out. I'm just going to take the edible parts off of this bird. And it is pretty simple. I do it the same way. I pull the feathers off the breast, back down the legs, and I take the legs and I kind of bust them like that at the hips. That makes it a little easier. And you're not really busting the legs, you're popping the hips, the hip joint apart. And so I use a fillet knife for everything, and cleaning birds, cleaning deer, you know, for butchering, it's, you know, for boning stuff out, they're really good knives. And you just cut down the breastbone on each side, and then you just follow the breastplate. And it's very similar if you're cutting breast meat off a chicken, you know, breast. There, you got one boneless pheasant breast. Yep. And there's number 2. That literally took me a minute and would have been quicker if I wasn't talking. On a pheasant, really the edible parts are going to be the breast meat and the legs and thighs. And there's not a lot of meat on the rest of the carcass. And there's some people that will only take the breast. I like to utilize as much of the rooster as I can. And so once that's peeled off to the thigh, I don't take the whole leg. You can eat the legs, some people will, but they are full of tendons. And there's not a lot of meat on there, and it's a lot of effort to eat. I don't take the legs myself, but I will take the thigh meat. And basically I cut down each side of the thigh, and then I take it in 2 pieces. I cut to the leg bone, I take one, I cut the other side, and there's your thigh meat. Go to the other side, do the same thing. And that's done. You can pull these feathers off, and what I'll typically do is I will take them into the sink, and I will rinse them off there. You know, this is poultry, so it's not like beef. You can rinse it off with water and clean it. Get all the, you know, look for pellets, get all the feathers off, any bloodshot meat, and you can do this in the sink in your house. So what I was doing earlier with the leg and the wing, and I'm gonna take this off the other one. So, and this is kind of where you can be a little citizen biologist. And every year, our game bird biologist requested hunters save wings, okay? And on a pheasant, you're gonna wanna save a leg and a wing. And you put this in the envelope after you cut it off, and there's instructions where to cut the wings. On pheasants, for example, you just take the, you know, the outer half of the wing and the leg, and they can tell if this bird is a juvenile or adult bird, and that gives us a very good idea of what we had for reproduction that year. Now, if it's an adult, we don't know if that bird's 1.5 years or 2.5. We just know it's an adult. But we can tell what we had for hatch this year by how many juvenile birds we harvested compared to the adult birds. So I put that in there. I take my pen, mark when I shot it. Now that we're done cleaning our birds, you know, I want to dispose of the parts we're not going to use, and I just simply throw it in the garbage can. So I'll throw it in my tub here, and I'll take it over my city garbage receptacle, and Tuesday morning it'll be on its way to its dump. So I just urge, if wherever you do this, if you're out in the, out in the country, clean up after yourself. Don't leave a bunch of parts on an approach somewhere. So just take care when you're out there, and we want to be good neighbors for everyone. So.